Alright, I'm going to start in a second. Hey everybody, it's Durger time, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode here of AEW New Era. We're taking the New Era AEW with some constraints, having to deal with the momentum, having to deal with being the booker and not the owner, and hoping that we can maintain this momentum, or else we will fall into despair and chaos, which chaos is about to happen, because man, we're so low on these momentum chips that it's not looking good. If we lose this next row, we're going to have to get an extra objective. We're going to have to spin the Cody Rhodes booking wheel, which we really don't want to do, and start to book a little bit of Cody's way. And we also could start to see a breakdown in the morale of the backstage, and with some extra objectives or goals or needs will happen as some of these more seasoned veterans will become more needy in what they need. A lot of wheels in this. We haven't seen them yet, thankfully. Because they're a pain in the ass, but they are coming, I fear, because we have these two storylines we have to book. Of course, down in those objectives, we know that we need to take a former WWE star and put them in a successful feud by the end of November. It's a 55. We're currently only at a 44. And of course, our breakup of a tag team is Stu versus Uno, and it's not doing well. We need a 60. We're at a 48. We're going to very likely lose both of these, and that's probably going to put us over the edge, unfortunately. But we have a Rampage episode today. It's going to be a short episode because later on this week, we are going to have Full Gear. It's only in 3 more days. And we are going to have that show as a standout breakout episode. Anytime there's a major pay-per-view, we're going to have a special episode. You can get like a 2-in-1 week kind of situation. This week's a little bit weirder. Had some scheduling changes, so you probably had an episode pop up on Sunday, which is unusual. Usually we put these up on Wednesday. So, you got a lot of content this week because there was a bit of a drought the last week. So thank you guys for hanging in there during that. But let's get on to Rampage. So we got Rampage here. Got a backstage incident. Looks like a protege work here with Riho. Yep, passing tips on the microphone. Very good. And one with Christian Cage. Christian Cage came to the backstage and told me that he thinks Ricky Starks has a bright future and he'd be willing to put him over in order to take him to the next level. Offer's good for 3 matches and will expire in 2 months. Very good. Something we should definitely take a mental note of as we continue finish our story with Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. I never asked. I probably should make sure Christian Cage is okay with putting over Jungle Boy. I don't know if he is. Would you be okay with putting over Jungle Boy? If he's not, he's still going to. But I would have no complaints doing that. Okay, I kind of figured as much. I never really looked at it to be sure, but probably good to ask and just not be surprised on the night. If he was, there's ways around it. You can book him strong. You can protect him from losing, make it look good. I really would like not dominant, but I would like a clean finish for that match. I do want Jungle Boy to win it. I think that's a good step in the right direction for us to build his pillar up. And in Christian Cage, we were talking about who could join the school. Christian Cage kind of qualifies, doesn't he, for this bitter veteran that wants to take down these indie darlings. Might not be a bad option as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right, we got a show to put on here, 60 minutes. We did most of our go-home work for the most part, so I don't think we're not going to really have to finalize anything specific, because we did kind of deal with Malachi. We kind of dealt with Britt Baker, but I think we need to do another match here. Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson's ready to go. Christian Cage and Jungle Boy is ready to go. We should have a square off with Kenny Omega and CM Punk to really finalize that. We probably need to have official call out for the Fallen Angels storyline for the SCU type Trios Tag Tournament, or the Trios Tag Championship match. We need official call out for a Trios match with the Familia versus Kingston. And this one we're kind of not active on at all. We haven't done anything recently with the Adam Cole storyline, with the Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson SuperClick story, but we're kind of keeping that on the back burner. So maybe we do something here to introduce a story element for it here, but for the most part, I think we're not going to do much with them until after Full Gear. So let's see if we can kind of clean up any of those loose ends. Alright, we got a full card. Will not be penalized. We have about 64% matches, so we're within the margin that we need. I think they expect about 70% matches for this product. 64 minutes, we go over a little bit, which is fine. And we need a 58 or higher in order to not lose any momentum chips. Will we succeed? I don't know. I honestly, truthfully think this is a weaker Rampage. So let's find out. We start to show off with a 51. Not horrible. It's kind of all over the place. Ruby and Thunder Rosa do not click well as a team, which is good to know. But we have Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Jamie is not really improving, but we're trying to give her more time to see if we can boost her popularity up. She's popular in the UK, but not in America. That's kind of hurting us a little bit. Overall, we get a decent reaction. Ruby and Thunder Rosa do defeat Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Thunder Rosa pins Jamie Hayter with a La Rosa. And Britt Baker was head and shoulders above everybody else. Jamie Hayter being the weak link here. Gets us a 51. Afterwards, we have a breakdown into a brawl between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. That's a 58. It's okay. Two of them are fighting, and the staff have to actually break it up because they're getting so vicious at each other. So we're kind of concluding that Britt Baker Thunder Rosa story arc here and letting them lead to a culmination. The question will really be, do we continue Britt Baker's reign, or do we give it to Thunder Rosa? And I'm not sure yet. There's advantages and disadvantages. I think Britt Baker is the better all-around performer, though, which makes me hesitant to give it to Thunder Rosa. But, you know, the other issue is, who do we have to challenge Britt at this point? We would either need somebody, a huge name, to be gotten, or we should look into diving into our Forbidden Door, see if we can get some Impact wrestlers on a short term, but that wouldn't really help us for a long-term champion unless they are available. So we definitely run into some issues that we have to look at probably after Full Gear, whether we decide to maintain the belt on Britt or whether we decide to give Thunder Rosa a reign, probably like a short to medium reign. We'll have to take a look at it. But right now, I'm still truthfully not fully decided yet. This segment gets a 58, though. It's not bad, but, you know, overall, it's fine. We have a match with Sting versus Buddy Matthews. They do not click, and they have an awkward bout, but overall, it's pretty okay. It's a 62, had great heat, had decent wrestling. Buddy Matthews defeats Sting in 10 minutes, actually gets a Silver Star Press, actually ends up winning against Sting, and obviously Darby Allin was ringside during it. We had a build up of animosity between the school and Darby and Sting here, and attacked a veteran and beat him, kind of adding legitimacy to Buddy Matthews here as a legitimate competitor, and gets us a 62 for it. Afterwards, he starts attacking Sting as he's injured, and Darby comes out to interfere. Darby gets intercepted by Bobby Fish, though, and all four of them start attacking each other in a post-match beatdown, leading us to clearly a beginnings at Full Gear of probably a tag team match between the two teams, but an interesting upset of Sting actually getting a loss from Buddy Matthews. So, he wasn't injured last week, or the last Dynamite with that, with the table, so there's a bit of an element there of he's a little bit protected, but it's definitely supposed to be a shocking upset here that leads into the match. This gets us 60, we gain heat, we got the crowd hotter, definitely the right direction to go. Is it too little too late for the objective that we need to accomplish? Truthfully, probably, but we'll see. We're going to give it our all. We still have Full Gear, a Dynamite, and a Rampage in order to try to eke a win out, but really it's going to be difficult. We have a really great segment where Eddie and Andrade go back and forth. I didn't write it out because it's pretty self-explanatory, but Andrade being upset by their constant interference and says, how he is the AAA Mega Champion, clearly should have been in the final, should have been the challenger for the AEW title, but Eddie Kingston interfered with the family, and they have to pay the price for it. Kingston kind of goes back and forth with like, oh yeah, I know all about family. This is a real family. You just pay your people to be there kind of thing. What will happen when your money dries up and your legacy's worthless? So there's that animosity kind of building between the two of them, leading to a culmination of accepting a challenge. It's going to be Eddie's crew, Andrade's family, head-to-head at Full Gear. Got the crowd very hot, gained some heat for the storyline, and we get a fantastic rating of a 71 with that. We have a pretty substandard match. Alex Reynolds and John Silver versus 10 and Alan Angels. Dark Order storylines have been killing us, and I cannot wait to end them. It's a poor match. 10 and Alan Angels defeat Alex Reynolds and John Silver in 12 minutes. 10 pins Alex Reynolds with a pounce. Silver head and shoulders above everyone else. We do advance the storyline for the tag team breakup, but it is not going well for us. Afterwards, we have a fairly good end segment here, even though Uno apparently poorly performed in it, and John Silver's struggled in his acting without a script. John Silver's argues with Uno on the microphone after their loss, looking very agitated by this whole situation. And he says, I don't think you understand, Uno, because you've been here since day one. Alex and I joined the Dark Order to be contenders to AEW. We wanted to be tag champions. But lately, we feel like we're honestly just a joke. We're the punchline here, not legitimate contenders. The Dark Order was supposed to be about making you better than you ever been. But honestly, since the leadership's changed, it really feels like we're just spiraling without any purpose. He says he's not sure if he wants to continue down this path. They just feel like they're repeating themselves over and over. How many more weeks do we have to fight our friends? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And here we are, once again, expecting different results. Hangman comes out. He's been at ringside for this match, and he tries to kind of back down John Silver, who's kind of sounding like he's about to leave. He goes, it's not about losses. It's one thing I've learned is you can lose as much as, anyone. You can keep on losing match after match. It's about getting back up. And the Dark Order isn't about getting that edge. It's about looking and supporting your friends when they're at their darkest path and the world feels like it wants to eat you all alive. That's what we're here for. That's the Dark Order I joined. Silver seems like he's kind of walking back from the edge from Hangman, but we get a laugh from Bray Wyatt. Emmett Koresh on the microphone comes out the stage and kind of calls it as he sees it in a way. He goes, and of course, Stu Grayson's by his side. Sycophantic lies of a drunk and a coward. You've seen what true leadership looks like here. What power you can wield when you let me in. I offer the Dark Order absolution. One last chance. At Full Gear, we will all face off. Your muscle against mine. Your mind against mine. Your savior. And he glances upon Adam Page. Versus theirs, as he points to his united fallen order. We will truly see what's more powerful. As your cowboy says, friendship, or the power that comes from giving yourself over to a truly greater force. So we kind of get the hint that's saying that if the Dark Order loses at Full Gear against them, that the Dark Order is done. This does gain heat for our feud. This is a 68. So that's definitely a better situation. But we're seeing the cracks in the last parts of the Dark Order here. Will they give in? Will they hold fast? We don't know. And finally, we end the show with a very traditional contract signing between Punk and Omega. We didn't really have a chance to build much of it because it was the tournament. Punk and Omega end up squaring off a bit after the contract signing, leading to a bit of a square down, but not an actual fight. Leaving that for the pay-per-view on Saturday as Punk goes against Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. Punk in this was a real star and did superb work working without a script as the back and forth during the contract signing. Kenny Omega improvised well, gave us an 83 for the end of the segment. And we end the show with a 60. A 60 is enough to give us 0. Again, it is harder to gain chips than it is to lose them. And that's always the case when it comes to losing things and momentum. So we managed to scrape by. We managed to get 60 in this show. We knew it was going to be a little bit weaker. Overall, some of the higher points saved us. But we lead into Full Gear. The end of some feuds, the beginnings of others. Should be an exciting show. But for now, looks like Rampage is saving us from a fall of momentum. All right, before we end it here, let's go ahead and take a look at our report. Sometimes underwhelming, but it was good. Frankie Kazarian fully fit. Very good. So we have, of course, tonight, which you guys will see in a special episode, our Full Gear show should be a pretty damn good show. Will it be enough to push some of these needles in the right direction? Good news is, after that last segment, the Super Smash Bros. Storyline moved up to a 51. We only have 3 more shows to get it to 60. Truthfully, I don't see it happening. But can we get one of these objectives accomplished? Can we get Darby versus Buddy Matthews and Bobby Fish? Can we get this storyline with these these WWE stars up to a 55? I think it's doable. So that's the hope. That's the plan. The other thing we have to look at some point is, are there people in our alliance that we can get that could be strong competitors for Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa, right? We really have a problem with our women's division where there's really not a lot of talent that I feel are world contenders. And what we really want to look at is maybe Impact in something that in real life has not done very well, which is the crossover between the women's division in AEW and the Knockouts division in Impact, and bring somebody in like a Deonna Purrazzo, who's well known there. Great Lakes popularity 33. You got like a Jordan Grace maybe. There doesn't look like there's a lot of really, like Tennille Dashwood maybe. 33. What's our women's division popularity look like? It's really going to tell us whether we're going to get somebody that moves the needle. Because ultimately, we want to bring somebody in that really is higher popularity for the most part. Because we really want to bring somebody in that is that's going to give our people a big rub, right? So if we look, the problem here is that our wrestlers are significantly more popular than they have. Not all of them, but certainly our top two, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, 48 and 44. We would want to find somebody that really is a strong competitor out there that has... Let's go to any. I mean, ideally, we could steal somebody from WWE, but, we're waiting for contracts to loop up here. So we would want somebody that's like 50 in America would be really ideal. Anything else in here we have to worry about? A hire. Perfect. So the only options really here that are available is Ronda Rousey, which, I mean, I don't think she would join AEW. Well, she would. I don't know how much I really find that interesting, but that would certainly be a person you could bring in the short term that would be a hell of a popularity giver. That would be something for sure. Is that really who we want? I don't know. When we go further down, we have Mickie James. But we can see that there's a significant popularity gap. That's kind of the beginning of the problem here. That we don't have anybody that's super established that we could bring in. The people that are available would probably be, the people in other companies, which we don't know what their contracts are like at the start of this. But somebody like a Becky Lynch would be an amazing grab for us. A Bayley would be a superstar for us. A 65 is higher than anybody else. A Charlotte Flair would be a very significant get for us. A CJ Perry we have, but we're really using her more as a manager because her skill set is just so poor that popularity only goes so far. The Sonya Deville is a 46. We have a 42. We could build Sheeta up. If we could get Kana, would be amazing. But we do see the problem here of just there's not a lot of... No, we'll pass on Nia Jax. Nikki Storm would be a great get. So I guess we have the option here of do we... Well, actually, we don't have an option here. She's on maternity leave. So in 4 months, we could talk about that. But right now, it's not going to help us. A Sasha Banks, I can't imagine any of these contracts are up for renewal soon. Toni Storm would not be what we're looking for. Thea Trinidad would probably be if her skill set was higher. It's going to look like it's a Charlotte Flair would be a mover here under exclusive contract. So we don't know when that contract's up, I don't believe. So we kind of had to keep an eye out. And Alexa Bliss would be another contract. We would have to find out when those contracts end. The game defaults them. I did set some to a real world estimate for some people, but a lot of these are set to random, so they could just be anything. They could be 3 days from now. They could be a month from now. In terms of that, we can look into our news in our diary here. And not our diary. Not that one. I thought it was news. It is news. Any month, any company, any person. Well, I could probably just reset this easier. We specifically want a story of probably negotiations, worker signings, maybe worker leaving. So, not really the best here for us. But what we would look for is anybody that was potentially... So, again, if we're talking WWE, we would be kind of looking for, is there anybody that potentially has a contract expiring? And right now, there's no notes on that. So, you guys might know if there's a better way to find rival contracts. I don't know for sure, because I don't think you can go into another company, so say WWE here, and I'm sure you can look at their roster, but I don't think you can find their contracts. I think that's secret. Oh, no, it's not. So, we don't know for sure. So, 10 months for Alexa Bliss. A whole year for Bailey. 8 months for Asuka. Unfortunately, nothing that is nearly done for us. Charlotte Flair, 49 days. So there's a target there that we should look at of there's a potential get there that could be really useful to us. Naomi, 4 months. 1 year. Nikki Cross, 4 months. Paige, can she wrestle 49 days? Again, another one that we might want to look at. If we can get her and she can wrestle physically, that popularity boost might be a big deal for us for that division. 1 year for Rhea Ripley. Sasha, 1 year. Shayna, 6 months. A lot of these pretty far out, not going to really help us here. Shotzi is 4 months, but again, the popularity isn't really where we need it. We're looking for somebody to instantly boost us up and have a credible main eventer for our women's division, and we're not seeing a lot here. So, Toni Storm, again, would not be one of those, but would be a potential builder. So, it's really Charlotte, and we have some others in the wings that would be great gets, but in terms of built-in US popularity to give us an immediate boost, I think Charlotte is the way to go if we can persuade her to come over and become Ashley Flair and give maybe Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa a run for her money would be our best shot. But let me know who you guys think it might be good candidates to look at to boost up our women's division. We have some good talent, but they're not there in terms of immediate credibility. We desperately need somebody that would be somebody that's in terms of always trying to build further. It feels like in our roster that everybody we have is essentially lower on the card. I mean, if we would just look at the card real quick and said, Well, actually, let's not do it here. Let's do contracts. No, actually, that would be a better way. If we were to look here, and this is the problem, if you're watching this and you're like, well, what the hell are you really talking about? Is we need to have somebody credible to take the belt, right? So, do we have any women that are considered major stars for our company? Of course not. Do we have stars? Potentially, probably Britt Baker. No, she's not considered a star. Is she considered well known? She is. So is Thunder Rosa. So is CJ Perry. But CJ Perry's technical ability is not great in terms of wrestling. If you look at her, psychology's poor. She's got a great microphone work and things like that, but she doesn't really. She's not really that innately more popular than Britt Baker that it would make a lot of sense, right? Thunder Rosa is getting up there, but it's actually a step down in terms of Britt Baker's popularity, and she's a little bit weaker on the microphone for entertainment. So there's a bit of a problem, right? I don't know why Britt Baker's menace is only 3. I find her terrifying, but okay. The next step down is, Audrey Edwards, Brandy. It's not a wrestler, really. We have Cassie and Jessie, right? For if we really wanted to start to build like a tag division or something like that. And Sheeta, but Sheeta's a step back. We had to build Sheeta up. Same thing, Chris Statlander. I would consider that a potential, but again, look at that popularity. Have to be built up. Maki Ito, who we haven't really introduced yet into actual AEW, we have her on Dark mostly. Have a storyline idea for her that would be cool, but again, a step back. Nyla Rose, a step back. Good brawling, weaker everything else, but also much less significantly popular. We would have to build her up. Riho, built up. Ruby Soho, a step back. Serena Deeb, a step back. Tay Conti, a step back. So we want to find somebody that we can bring in. And ideally, we would bring somebody in that could topple Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa, be a strong competitor, and then start to build up the women's division in a different capacity to start to build them up. Now, still rambling because this was a short episode. Sorry, but some people were talking about, are we going to do the TBS title? Because in real life they're doing a TBS title. Well, we did a trios title instead, right? Now I'm contemplating whether we want to do a brand split with Rampage, and that might be an option. I don't know for sure, but I think what I would rather do with the women is actually set up a tag title. So instead of having 2 singles belts, like the TNT title and the world title, I would like to set it up more like the world title and the world tag team title, that we have the women's world title and the women's world tag title. And that would give us an opportunity to put some of the women together, allow them to balance each other's negatives, start to build up breakout stars, and we can then break up those tag teams in shorter term to have a beginning of an opportunity to start to develop those stars. Chris Statlander can start to work solo with somebody, or work a tag with somebody, build each other up, and then kind of graduate to become a world competitor, right? And versus having a mid-card of very weak competitors with very low popularity. Let me know what you guys think of that, but I think in the long term, that might be a direction we go. But we do have to figure out a person in the short term that could move the needle for us. And it doesn't look like there's that many in Impact that really are going to be ones. For the short term might make interesting opponents, but ultimately in the long term might not make strong champions or challengers. So, bit of an issue for us, but we will walk through it and work it out. We got Full Gear on the next episode, so I will join you guys for that one. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy what you see with this save, and I will catch you guys next time for another episode. Have a great one.